Alrighty guys, I'm in the shop today working on doing a small run of our Peterbilt frame horn reinforcement brackets, as well as some of our newly designed Kenworth frame reinforcement brackets. We're sold out of them right now, which is why I'm desperately trying to get these ones done. But I just wanted to point out that we are working to outsource the production of these for the time being. And the reason for that is, number one, right now we cannot keep up with the demand. With the odd jobs that come in the shop, I don't allocate enough time to getting these done for people. And they are a good seller for us, so I like to keep them in stock. Secondly, right now I produce these parts and then we outsource the powder coating. And the place that we outsource that to is like 2 hours away from us. And so they just logistically it doesn't pencil out real great. They do a great job powder coating, don't get me wrong, and we'll still continue to do plenty of business with them. The next point is the place that we are looking to outsource this work to, they have much higher end equipment and a much quicker turnaround time. As well, they will do everything in-house. Being a small shop like we are, we don't get as good of discounts or pricing on materials. So the place that we're looking to outsource this to, they get better material pricing, which helps keep costs down, and they will do everything in-house. From getting the material, they laser cut the parts, they'll break them, weld them, and powder coat them, ship them right to us. So it's a one and done deal, so it just makes sense. I've already got the 1/4 inch HD brackets bent up, ready to be welded, so I'm gonna get to work here. I'm gonna set the camera up. We'll do a little time lapse making the 3/16 parts, as well as doing the Kenworth brackets. Also, as of the time being, we'll only be offering the Kenworth brackets in the 3/16 variation, and that is due to a limitation with the press brake, which I will show you guys here later on when I get to bending these parts up. As far as outsourcing the production of these brackets for the time being, it's not meant to be a forever solution. We definitely plan to still make most of these brackets ourselves when we can, but due to volume needs, right now it makes the most sense to outsource it to someone that can handle the volume. At some point, I would hope that we can bring on enough personnel, justify to bring on enough personnel to keep them busy producing parts constantly. But right now, just with where we're at as far as the business goes, it's just not a good place for us to be diving into something like that, well, not knowing exactly where things will go. So this is only meant to be a temporary solution for the time being, but I do think that the quality will be as good or probably better, seeing that the company that we're working with has lasers in place of plasma, which laser is going to offer much better quality on the cuts and accuracy, dimensions, all that stuff. As well, their brakes are much nicer than our 2-axis brake here, so I believe that the quality will be just as good, if not better. So alrighty guys, I got all of the Peterbilt frame horn reinforcement brackets broke, so now I'm going to move on to doing the Kenworth ones here. You may have noticed in the video that I broke all of the flanges, I guess you could say, independently. So what I mean is, on the Peterbilt brackets here, you may have noticed that I did all of the bottom flanges first, and then I swapped over and did all of the side flanges. And the reason for that is it's more economical than having the back gauges on the press brake running back and forth trying to keep up. As well, I have these little indexing magnetic indexing arms here from Genuine Metalworks. These are very handy. If you have a press brake, I would highly advise getting some of these. But so the first flange on the bottom of those brackets is like 2 inches. So the obviously the back gauge will be set at 2 inches, and then it runs back to do the long leg. Well, when I do the short flange on there, it's like full width. So I want the back gauges to be spread out. That way I get the most accurate bend line. And so when they run back forward, these stick out too far, and the back gauges would end up hitting them, for starters. Also, secondly, when I do those long flanges, I group the back gauges up tight together so that, again, I have a more precise and exact bend line. I'll do a similar process on the Kenworth brackets here, in which I will bend these ears first. I'll run through and bend all those first. Then I'll come back and do the bottom flange on all of them, and I'll follow it up by finishing with doing these outside flanges. So I'll get the camera set up. We'll do a little time lapse of that. I mentioned it in another video, but one of the reasons as well that I do all of these flanges first and then skip to these bottom ones and then these outside ones is that I have to remove my center lower dies when I do these outside ones, because the bend line is somewhere in here, which is in line with the rest of this part, and I do not want to bend the center section. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Okay, so I got my tooling set up in my press brake to do the first stage of bends on these Kenworth brackets. You'll notice that I only have the outside lower dies here. And as I stated earlier, that's because these ears will get broke somewhere in this neighborhood, and I do not want the rest of this bent. So to accomplish it, I have to remove all the center dies. That's why I'll go through, I'll bend these outside flanges here first, and then install my lower dies that I need to do the rest of the processing. So earlier I mentioned that these Kenworth brackets, we are only going to be offering in a 3/16 variation for the time being. And the reason for that is the limitation of my tooling on my press brake. And let me show you exactly what I mean here. So I'm going to reference my press brake air bending guide here on my press brake. The general rule of thumb when bending materials in a press brake is that you want your V opening to be 8 times your material thickness. So for, let's just say 3/16, it's showing me that I want 1.5 inch V opening. My dies here are metric, but this one works out to be about 1.6 inches, so just over 1.5 inches. So for 1/4 inch plate, like I said, these ones here are 3/16. We do not plan to offer these in 1/4 inch because for 1/4 inch, you'll need a 2-inch die opening, which I do have. The only problem is, due to the width of my lower beam here, when bending the 3/16, you can see that it actually does contact my die holder down here. And if I were to do it with 1/4 inch and having to use a 2-inch die opening, you can see that the bottom V in this die here is much lower than in this one here. So that would just further exacerbate how bad that would be. And I believe it would end up deforming either the plate or possibly wrecking my punches. So that is the reasoning why we only plan to offer these in 3/16 for the time being. As I said earlier, we're working on outsourcing to another company, so perhaps they could produce these in 1/4 inch. That'll be something that I'll have to speak with them about. But for now, they'll only be offered in 3/16. Alright guys, so I've completed the process of breaking all of our frame horn reinforcement brackets, the main bracket itself. So now I'm going to move on to doing the lower bumper support hardware for each style of bumper. Okay, we've got all of our parts formed up, so now we'll move on to welding them. Alrighty guys, I think that pretty much does it for the production of our frame horn reinforcement brackets. I'm gonna get these banded down to the pallets so we can get them shipped off to powder coat. I'm hoping that this small batch of parts will be enough to tide us over until we get our other brackets back from the other manufacturer that we're working with. We've had an extremely high demand for these, so we appreciate all the support, you guys. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Make sure to give us a follow across all different social media. We'll try and link that down below. And until next time, catch you guys later.